Face front, true believers, this is Modular Media's No Prize Podcast. I am your host, Chris, a Boingo writer, Gaston, and with me, as always, in the bullpen.
Representing the people who want to get this show the fuck over with so they can go watch Revolution, the Vacuuminator.
And we have a special guest. They are tiny, they are blue, they jump when they talk. It is...
the VTuber.
It's Buster.
Occasionally. I'm occasionally a VTuber.
We're talking comics.
Look like our AI assistant on the stream layout.
Yeah.
It's like Siri. Hey, Buster.
Yeah.
Yeah?
What is the weather tomorrow?
Let me check.
I love how you just sound like a resigned assistant.
You sound like what if Flintstones had an AI assistant in their show.
Yeah.
It's a living.
Yeah.
Oy vey.
Okay, I'm checking. It's
apparently the
40...
Flintstones comic had a very dark take on that.
Hmm.
Because they were like, wait a second, these animals are sentient creatures, but we're treating them like appliances. Oh my god, what if the vacuum cleaner elephant was afraid of the dark and every time he shoved it in the closet it had an existential crisis?
Oh boy. I didn't get to that issue, but I did read the issue where they're just like parroting consumerism, and it's fucking great.
I need to read that comic.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think I got up to the gay one.
Ooh.
I love how you say that one. Like, the gay.
It's the one that says, like, yo, gay rights. What else
that's pretty base. That's pretty base.
I love that we're finally getting Boingo's take on Dino Fear.
Yeah.
I don't have a good enough memory to remember previous Power Ranger seasons to think of a gay ship.
Dino Fury is the current season, and there's an actual canon gay couple on screen.
That was going to be the joke. That, like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about, gay season? Like, there's been a previous one. Insert fictional gay ship. And I was just like, I couldn't think of one.
Eric and Wes!
What?
Eric and Wes.
I was thinking more Ziggy and Dylan.
Ooh, good one. It's a good one. So
that's RPM,
Sky
right?
and Jack.
Ziggy's RPM, right?
Yeah.
Then it'd be a poly relationship because come on, no, Ziggy and Doc.
Okay, yeah.
No. It'd be super fucking poly because you also got Scott getting in there with Dylan occasionally.
Oh my god.
They canonically held hands.
Okay, fair. This is didn't we watch a movie this week?
We did.
You two did.
Yeah.
So real quick, hold on. Let me actually get the slideshow big. All right.
Use you.
No, fuck off.
I did the mistake.
No prize. So fucking Batman showed up.
He sure did. He was played by Robert Pattinson, because you haven't seen that joke on Twitter enough yet. And this movie was excellent. This movie is an actual 10 out of 10. I haven't seen something this good since the first season of Mandalorian. I
was
really
like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That's pretty recent in all grand scheme of things.
Yeah, time is a blah 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 blah. Shut the fuck up, I'm talking.
Okay.
I like genuinely I had this interesting feeling through the whole movie of just like, wow, this is really impressive how this movie is like going out of its way to not do a lot of origin stuff. I mean, like, this is probably the first Batman movie where they don't show the Wayne's murder at all. They talk about it quite a bit, but we don't actually see it. This is very much a fucking, like, just a Batman story. It is not introducing you to this new version of Batman. It feels very much like this is the story they would do for the sequel to this movie. And that's why I really feel like with that sort of attitude the movie has, and with how utterly atmospheric and otherworldly feeling it is at times, this is the first Batman movie, or really Batman adaptation at all, I've seen that actually feels like reading a Batman comic. This feels like reading a Hush or a Gothic or a Long Halloween. It's really, really just intense in how much it sucks you into its world, and you kind of forget about everything else for a minute, except for one little piece of dialogue that had my entire theater go, "Oh God damn it!" because I live in the South.
Interesting. I'm very interested to see what, because I feel like everyone has a piece of dialogue in this movie that's just like, oh, for God's sake.
Oh no, I saw one bit of fucking scripting that was bugging a person I saw on Twitter because Suede, the
the autistic moaning. I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
Actually, good segue for the Riddler. But minus that, Riddler was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
He had like a decent level of comedy, but still threateningness to him.
I love when he starts his YouTube video. He's like, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
Influencer.
Yeah. And he has 500 followers and no bitches.
Yeah. Like all of us.
Meanwhile, we have the fucking greatest live-action depiction of Catwoman ever.
I have a couple issues of that. She's actually where some of my problems with the movie come in.
Interesting.
Kind of spoiler.
We'll do your general thoughts before we dive into spoilers, Buster.
Okay. I love this movie. It's so good, minus one scene near the end and scene in the middle, but that relates to Catwoman. But overall, like, it's such like a very stylishly directed. I feel like this feels like the most Batman movie I've seen. Like, this doesn't feel like Zack Snyder's Batman or Christopher Nolan's Batman. This feels like a Batman's Batman.
It is a Batman story.
Yeah. And it legit feels like one of the greats. Like,
I'm sorry. The Batman. A Batman story.
Starring Batman.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Trying to think. Yeah, that's really all I got to say. No spoilers. Think what else? Like, there's so much I want to get into, but it kind of goes into spoilery territory.
Probably the best car chase there's been in a major movie in a long time.
When the Batmobile first shows up, it feels like that's such a great moment.
That's one thing I appreciated with like the promotional material. The Batmobile was just a fucking muscle car.
Yeah, and there's like little moments of build up to it all throughout the movie up until then. Like you see there's like car parts all over the Batcave. There's like a knolled out engine shown at one point. It's really interesting.
Honestly,
go ahead.
This is completely semi-related to the movie because I didn't get a chance to see it. I don't have the capability to go watch it. To me, Batman should only be Batman like 3 times a month. The rest of the time is he's recovering, he is working on his gadgets, he's building his car, he's keeping it up to date, and he's maintaining the Bruce Wayne persona.
That's interesting because this is a Batman that has basically abandoned the Bruce Wayne persona. Like, he makes an appearance as Bruce Wayne in the movie, but for the most part, he's like out as Batman 24/7. And if he's not out as Batman, he's out as basically an equivalent of Matches Malone. Because remember that Drifter Batman figure we were making fun of from Todd?
Oh my god, is that supposed to be Matches?
They don't ever call it Matches Malone, but it's basically used like Matches Malone because the way this Batman operates is he rides his motorcycle out into the city in that getup, that baggy ass getup, and then he walks around looking for criminals who are doing shit. And then he goes into an alley and suits up as Batman and beats their ass. Like, he moves through the city as just a guy and becomes Batman when he needs to, which I thought was really cool. I don't think I've ever seen that in anything.
I mean, logically, it makes sense as a Batman because, like, then you're not being able to be tracked and you just show up whenever.
Yeah, especially in the digital media age, that's a really good way to avoid that kind of shit. Any thoughts on that, Buster?
Nah, I agree. Sorry, just kind of in the middle of something.
Okay. I also want to say, like, I was really down on this batsuit going into the movie because I'm kind of sick of, like, body armor tactical batsuits. But the movie did everything they could to really make it work. Like, they emphasized that, like, it's just the chest. His arms and his legs are cloth. He's got, like, a leather cowl. The way he deploys the grappling gun is really cool. And I love that they took advantage of the body armor thing by making the Batarang the fucking chest symbol. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Was so cool.
It seems like something that would have been done in the comics before, but it's great in this movie.
Yeah, like very versed, like how do I put it? Like functional.
Versatile.
Yeah, functional, like, but still
utilitarian,
stylishly functional. Dare I say? Versatile, yeah.
But no, it's great.
So give me a second. My internet's crapping out.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it. I also really dug Jim Gordon in this movie. You know, I know there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, black Jim Gordon, fuck off."
All Jim Gordon needs to do is look tired and fucking half dead.
Yeah, and he does in this movie. He has like a gravelier voice than Batman, and I kind of dug that because I'm used to Jim Gordon being like average Joe, a little high pitched because we want you to think Gotham is New York subtly. Like Gary Oldman's Jim Gordon for a very long time, I thought like, yeah, that's evergreen Jim Gordon to me. But, like, this felt more like Jim Gordon to me somehow.
Jim Gordon should also sound like he's from Chicago. Because that's his origin.
That is true.
In year one, at least. I don't think they've retconned it.
Yeah. Also, Buster was speaking to sort of the stylish directing in this. One of the things I really appreciated is... and a lot of people have been talking about this on social media too, because both these movies were shot in Chicago, but comparing this movie a lot to The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight's version of Gotham just feels like Chicago. Like, it's just a very well shot version of Chicago. This feels like a constructed version of Gotham based off of Chicago and New York. It very much feels like its own world. And at times when you're watching a scene, you don't feel like anything exists outside of the screen, like you do when you're reading a comic. You don't feel like anything exists outside of that panel. It's just the moment you're observing. And again, that's another reason why I really dug this and thought it felt more like a Batman story than anything that had come before it.
Hey, Aki.
Hello, Aki. Just getting into some more of the characters, I really dug that, even though Riddler was advertised as the main villain, there's still a lot of other minor villains all throughout the movie, and, like, the actual final boss doesn't end up being Riddler. It's really interesting what they do with it, and where they go. It feels, again, like a proper Batman story. Like, Hush is always talked about as being like, oh, that's the Batman story where he encounters every villain in one night. But, like, that's a thing a lot of Batman stories have done since.
Yeah, and wasn't the first one Nightfall, though?
Yeah. Sorry to hear you have food poisoning, Aki. I hope you feel better soon.
Yeah. I didn't get to see it just because I didn't get a chance to, so we're kind of doing the mildy spoilers, not super, super heavy plot details.
Yeah. And obviously, Catwoman is in this movie, and she's like a villain very briefly. She very quickly becomes Bruce's ally. Like, he literally grabs her and goes, "You're gonna help me on this case. You're gonna do that for me." And she's like, "Okay."
And I'm glad I've been hearing a lot more of, like, this is much more of a detective Batman. It's more of a mystery story than a punch 'em up, which okay, going back to what I said earlier about, like, oh yeah, Batman should only be Batman like 3 or 4 times a month. That's why, because he's only Batman when he has a case that the police can't solve. Batman's just Sherlock Holmes with fancy gadgets. That's how I kind of see, like, that's a good Batman to me. What's up?
Yeah, and I do really like the way they portray that in this movie. Like, there's a lot of scenes of just Batman in full costume talking to Jim or talking to other characters. Like, one of my favorite things, there's a moment early on in the movie where Batman is just in the Iceberg Lounge casually having a conversation with Penguin. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that outside of comics and cartoon. That's really cool. Because Penguin's in this movie, and, like, it's not a penguin-ass penguin, but it's a really good interpretation of him, especially given the story they're trying to tell. Like, I dig the way they use him. Again, the way they use Riddler is fairly brilliant. I know there's some people who don't like the serial killer angle for Riddler. They feel like that's not a good take on his character. But I thought it worked fine given the circumstances of this movie, and the fact that he's actually working towards Taking Bad, who ends up being the actual final big bad of this movie, was a really cool sort of twist in things, especially given who plays him. Like, I know that actor is, like, more so known for art house movies, but I just know him as fucking Agent Simmons from the Bayverse. So I was like, this is fucking wild. Look at this guy actually act.
It's not the Joker, right? It's not the Joker.
It's Carmine Falcone.
Oh, that's... You know, out of all the kind of, like, bad guys Batman has... the Falcone family always gets, like, the short end of the stick because they're just the prologue to Batman, you know?
Mm-hmm. But no, they set him up as, like, being in control of the whole city, basically. I won't get into exact details, but, like, it's really interesting the level of villainy they reveal with him, especially relating to Catwoman. I know there's probably some people out there who may not have liked exactly what they did with Catwoman, but given that the aspect of her character they're playing with isn't often made a big deal out of in the comics, I didn't care that it was changed, and I enjoyed how it worked into the plot. The only thing I kind of cringed at in relation to Catwoman was that one line that made my entire theater groan, which is, there's a moment where she says the phrase, rich white assholes, and my entire theater went, oh no, this movie's woke for a second, and then they got back into it. And I cringed, but not because, oh no, this movie's woke, because obviously I don't have a problem with wokeness. It's just like, that feels weirdly dated. That doesn't feel like that belongs in a timeless Batman story. Like, maybe these upper crust trust fund types would have been a better way to have worded that, was what I thought. But other than that, I really enjoyed the movie. I don't really have a lot of nitpicks. Maybe the Joker inclusion, which we've already discussed on this podcast before. It was leaked months beforehand.
Yeah.
Maybe that didn't need to be in there, but it was fine enough and it worked in the moment.
Here's a question I have, though. Is this going to lead to the new DC universe?
No, Matt Reeves has actually specifically said in interviews he doesn't imagine that any other heroes exist in his universe. He's developing a Batverse.
Okay.
That being said, though, the way this movie sort of thematically plays and the kind of arc Bruce undergoes in this movie, which, to sum it up very basically, is just vengeance is not exactly the way. It's not what the entire city needs. It's just what you need. It's just what you need, Bruce. You need to be a symbol for hope. You need to help people. I want them to tinge, like, I know a lot of people were like, oh, this is the fucking darkest, grittiest Batman movie ever. And I can see that to a degree, but, like, the way this movie ends, I'm like, I feel like we could lighten up a little bit in the sequel. Let's get some Robin going on in this sequel if we want a more hopeful symbol of justice Batman going on. Let's do that.
Aki asked if Barry Coogan, Druig's actor in Eternals, is...
That is exactly who it is.
Okay. I mean, he's a good Druig. I mean, I can see him pulling off a good Joker.
Yeah, and you don't fully see him. He's very heavily shadowed, but you can see he has a kind of Heath Ledger scar smile. and he does get to do a Joker laugh. Like he tells the way he's in the movie, because fuck it, we've already talked about the fact that he's in the movie on the podcast. After Riddler is captured, he's taken to Arkham, and his cell is right next to Joker's. And Joker's like, it sucks that your plan didn't work, buddy, but there's always next time. And Riddler's like, who the fuck are you? And so he tells Riddler a riddle that basically amounts to that Riddler quickly answers, and the answer to the riddle is a friend. And they both start laughing. And that's the last time you see Riddler in the movie.
Very dumb thought. What if they try and adapt the War of Jokes and Riddles?
That would be super interesting.
Not exactly 1-to-1, but like they are saying like the next one they want to have like a lot of bad guys.
Yeah.
Then the ultimate threat of the movie isn't necessarily like one big bad guy. It's just, oh shit, this giant fucking kerfuffle's happening. Jesus.
Mm-hmm. All that being said, I would like to see them go for some villains that we maybe haven't had on screen yet. Like, how have we not had a proper Batman Killer Croc movie? I know he was in the first Suicide Squad, but that doesn't count.
Or Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter would be great. To that effect, Baby Doll.
Has she been in the comics?
Yeah, she's in the comics.
Okay, because I know she was created for the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
Clayface, though.
Clayface, bro. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Like, you don't even have to do go full Clayface. Like, no. Just have it be a dude who can shapeshift his face and can hide anywhere. And Batman's just trying to find him.
Ooh, a Court of Owls movie. That'd be really interesting considering what they already did with There's a Big Secret to the City in this movie. But a good live action Mr. Freeze would be great. That being said, I did just remember I do have one other minor nitpick about this movie, which is that there's one character that's almost entirely superfluous. Alfred has an assistant who's an old woman named Dory, and she is literally only in 2 scenes. She's in one scene that establishes she exists, where she comes in to tell Alfred and Bruce that their house guests are here. And then there's another scene where, to give a bit of a spoiler, Batman finds out that Bruce Wayne is the Riddler's next victim, so he's driving home in the Batmobile trying to call Alfred, and Dory picks up, and he's like, Dory, put Alfred on the phone, something terrible is going to happen, you guys need to leave. And she's like, but Master Wayne, something terrible has already happened, and we see Alfred got blowed up. He survives, but he got blowed up.
I can see why they might think to give put that character in the movie, though.
Mm-hmm. That being said, my whole thing was like, you could have just had him get there as Bruce Wayne and a firefighter explains it to him.
No. I can see why they would have the character in the movie, because it takes Alfred out of just being a servant role and have him be a paternal figure, because that's always a thing that people like to do, is like, oh, Alfred is adopted Bruce, like their father and son. But he's also his butler, so that's a weird fucking thing. If you have another assistant, that whole butler dynamic can be downplayed, and you can focus on like a father-son. I don't know if that's what they did in the movie, or if that's like their intent.
I would do some stuff like that. Like in the first scene with both Bruce and Alfred, like he gets back to the Batcave, and Alfred's like, yo, I figured out this cipher for you. Anyway, you should really talk to our fucking bankers, because you're spending a lot of money on this Batman shit. And Bruce literally says, you're not my father, leave me alone. And Alfred just looks at him and goes, I'm well aware. And then later in the movie, after Alfred gets blowed up, Bruce is in the hospital with him, and he's like, I've been a shithead. You're the only person I care about. I'm sorry. And Alfred's like, it's okay. I know. To be fair, I've been a bit of a dickhead. They kind of adapt Earth 1 with this Alfred. Like, you don't ever see him with a shotgun, but like he's much more of like a tough guy kind of assistant. trying to help Bruce, but all the while going, "This is really stupid." And he literally says at one moment, I wasn't supposed to be a butler. I was supposed to be a bodyguard, and I failed your parents, and for some reason they willed you to me. And this never should have worked out, and arguably it hasn't. And then there's another little Earth One thing they adapt, which is just there's a cool scene where Batman uses a wingsuit, and he's flying through the city, and he tries to stop and land on top of this bus, and he deploys like an air brake, and it gets caught on a bridge, and his ass just gets wrecked into an alley. Like how he couldn't use the grappling gun properly in Earth One, and I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
But no, overall, very, very good film. I am very optimistic about the future of DC films at this point. Like, I don't necessarily give a crap about Aquaman 2 or The Flash, but like, there was a little preview that showed footage from all of them before the Batman, and first time I've actually seen footage of Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. Looks pretty slick. And Shazam 2 should be good, and whatever they make to follow this up should be good. I know there's supposed to be a Riddler show on HBO Max, or not a Riddler show, a Penguin show. So I may check that out. I'll definitely check out a sequel to this, especially if Matt Reeves stays on, because man, I've never heard of that guy before this movie, and he has such an amazing directorial vision. I really want to go and check out some of his older films. Like, it's that kind of movie where it's so good, you want to see what some of these other people have done. Like, people are talking about, like, oh, you're surprised Robert Pattinson is a good actor? Go check out Remember Me. And I'm like, bitch, I might.
I'm trying to remember. There was something I watched with Robert Pattinson that I thought was really good. I can't remember what it would have been. Either way, I want to go see it. I want to see the Batman. It's just, I didn't have the ability to.
Yeah. In about a month, you'll be able to eye patch it.
Yeah. Sail 7 Seas.
You'll be able to privateer it, as Linus Tech Tips says.
Yeah. Real quick though, you kind of mentioned like several books it kind of resembles. Is there any one storyline that it not necessarily does the whole like we're adapting this 1-to-1, but like how Dark Knight Rises was a little bit Nightfall?
No, there's a lot of minor elements just sprinkled throughout that you go, oh, they pulled that from that. They pulled that from that. They took all these little ingredients. They took all the best ideas from some of the most notable Batman stories and made their own, which is really cool.
I don't know why, but every so often, like looking at some of the trailer and stuff, it looks stylized enough that I go like, that looks like the animated series, but you took away all the 1940s elements, and you just tried to make it all set in the modern day.
A little bit, yeah. It's also constantly fucking raining, which is a crazy aesthetic.
Yeah. But anything else you want to say about the Batman?
Not without going into full spoilers, and I want to keep you somewhat clean and nubile for when you go see it.
We'll talk about that in a month. In the meantime, we still have some Marvel to talk about.
Woo!
Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Avengers, Kang Dynasty.
This episode was fucking badass.
Oh yeah, no. Here's the thing. The Avengers should never have matching uniforms. Except once in a blue moon, they should always have matching uniforms.
Yes. Like, this is like the good version of those Endgame uniforms. Because I thought those were really crappy looking.
It's fine. But no, like, legitimately, every once in a while, they all need to have matching uniforms with matching aesthetics that just has, like, their little bits on the end, and it's just, like, magnificent.
Also, Iron Man's kind of looked like a Silver Centurion.
Yeah, that's always fun.
But no, I liked that. I liked all the crazy stuff with Kang. I like that they're keeping they're like, it's very much focused on what the Avengers are doing, but they're keeping you in mind that this is a global scale thing. Like, Nick chimes in at one point and he's like, "Oh, we fucking lost Cambodia, guys." And I also really dig all the Ultron stuff in this. Some great setup for that character. Like, this felt more like a season finale to me than just the end of an arc within a season. This feels like, okay, we've dealt with this major threat we've been building up to, and now here's a teaser for the next one.
I also like the Ultron stuff because it ingrains us to Ultron so that his inevitable villain arc is more impactful.
His sudden but inevitable betrayal will feel all the more impactful because we've spent so much time with Ultron not necessarily being a good character, but being like a tool that the heroes use.
Yeah. Also, I love the explanation for why Ultron looks like that. It's just a simple, cute... Of course Hank thinks ants look adorable.
Yeah. And he thinks that looks like an ant. Like, this man didn't go to graphic design school.
No.
Trying to think of anything else to mention.
All the fights were pretty good. I liked all the Avengers having to fight fucking 3 Dios.
Yeah. I like that they essentially did the Marfa joke years before that happened with Ravonna.
Yeah.
Do they do anything with Ravonna going forward, or is it just like, nah, that made him stop?
I don't remember.
Because that would be interesting if she like becomes more of a character.
I mean, she has become more of a character in the comics and doing that.
That's true. What was she up to last time you saw her?
It's been forever since I think she's been in the comics. I mean, I'm talking like from the 60s up until like the 90s, they did something with her. She was also in Loki.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was the head lady who ran off at the end, and we theorized she was going to pick Kang up somewhere.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that reminds me, Loki season 2 is now filming.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. But yeah, no, good, solid fucking Avengers.
Great episode. Would watch again.
Like I keep saying, this is the Marvel equivalent of Justice League Unlimited. It's just
JLU.
Yeah, JLU. It's just a pure, unadulterated version of the stories, you know, of the concepts and the characters and all the gobbledygook.
Yeah.
But we got some toy news to talk about, so so let's talk about some McFarlane schmaltzy stuff. We got.
There's really only one thing in here that we need to talk about, being a comic podcast.
I mean, we got some Black Adam toys coming out from McFarlane.
Yeah, there's that, but also like look at your Hero Akas.
Yeah, there's Warhammer 40K, some Disney. Those are actually dope. Those look cool. Those Disney figures look kind of fun.
Yeah, I see them in the store sometimes, and I'm like, that's neat. I don't know if I need that, but that's neat.
Vox Machina figures. So if you're a fan of Critical Role.
Don't know shit or fuck about that, and those just look like discount store Harry Potter designs.
Critical Role is a real play D&D podcast starring a bunch of voice actors that they've recently started making an animated adaptation of their like the story they made.
Okay,
and that's the character designs from the animated series.
All right.
So like those are they're D&D characters.
Interesting.
7 Deadly Sins.
I have actually seen the entire first season of this show, and it fucking sucks.
It seems like the worst schlocky shonen stuff.
It's really terrible.
And we got some Hiroaka. 2 Bird Boys.
Yeah, I have not seen either of these gentlemen before, but I like the guy in the green jacket. He's got style.
Oh, he's a bad guy.
That makes sense.
He's. Let me explain to you what he did.
Okay.
He kidnapped a girl and tortured her to get a drug that would turn off people's quirks.
Wow.
She is traumatized extensively and has PTSD.
Is this the girl with like the
little horn,
purple hair?
Like the little horn and kind of bluish hair, little girl. She's like 5 or 6.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay.
Yeah, her name's Aerie.
Yeah, I saw tons of fan art of her right after she debuted.
Yep. And that's Hawks, the other guy.
Yeah, he's getting Rebel Tech as well.
Yeah. He was like the third most popular powerful hero, and then All Might did the All Might. And so now he's the second one. But he also trained under Endeavor, I think.
Interesting. But it's cool that line's continuing. I honestly thought it was dead for a while there, especially with that joke figure of the invisible character they did.
Yeah. His powers are basically Archangel.
Sick.
So think of Archangel from the X-Men. He can fly, he can shoot feathers, he can do all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. For once, I actually like the side eye because in that image, he's just looking at the other bird boy like, oh, you're a motherfucker, aren't you?
Well, he is a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Then we also got a Batman Beyond Entertainment Earth exclusive, which realistically ain't the worst kind of exclusive. It is like battle damaged Batman Beyond suit that glows in the dark.
I think it's meant to mimic like that one shot in the intro where the spotlight passes over him. Like they have an animation like that on the actual purchase page. But I don't think I need this.
No, but it's cool. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst repaint.
It's a good way to get more money out of that.
I mean, Batman Beyond's always a goodie to have around, you know?
Yeah.
Hey. We got a figure from Beast Kingdom.
We sure did. And
Speaking
I think
of
Beast
Beast,
Kingdom, they're starting to discover their niche. Give us the larger scale characters who make sense to be 8 inches tall.
Yeah, we got King Shark.
Yeah, right out of the Suicide Squad, and he looks great. He's got 3 interchangeable heads, all the articulation you could possibly squeeze into that design, and plenty of movie accurate accessories. I love that he comes with the fucking book.
Yeah. Shame it doesn't have actual words in it, so you can have him actually posed upside down, so he's like only mimicking reading.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was always a cute little detail. Big old chonker.
Yeah, I would definitely go for this.
Yeah.
You know me. I don't like buying movie stuff too much, but this is like a great figure.
Hell yeah. Good little solid dude.
Yeah.
And then we got, of course, the requisite. As soon as the pictures load up, we will look at them. The Hot Toys. It certainly is a hot toy.
It honestly, this is the first figure of this design I've made that's really made me appreciate the suit. I think I've gone from being like, okay, another armored Batman, sure, whatever. Hollywood doesn't understand the Batsuit. To being like, no, this is actually a really good design. I dig this a lot.
Here's an idea for a Batsuit. It has the obvious armor, but it's underneath a layer of like fabric.
That's what I have been wanting for years. Like literally, all you need is a scene in a movie where he gets shot, looks down, you see that like his chest fabric or something is torn, but there's Kevlar underneath it, and then you can just have it be a cloth suit for the rest of the movie. And I felt that's where they were going with Batfleck, but I don't know if it ever got to that point.
Or if you want to have a different way to explain it, is like, oh man, I keep getting like hit with certain kind of thing. Well, maybe if you obfuscated where your armor was, they wouldn't know where to hit you.
Yeah.
And the cloth obfuscates the armor somewhat.
Mm-hmm. But no, this figure looks brilliant, super, super accurate. Looks just like Robert Pattinson with that helmetless head. Love all the little accessories it comes with. Even comes with one of Riddler's cards from the movie. There's like 4 different versions of shit you can buy. There is the regular release of just the figure. There's the deluxe version, which comes with a working bat signal. There's an accessory set, which is 2 different stands. And then there's a collectible set, which is the bat cycle. Like you can go as all in as you want with this Fae.
The deluxe version also has the wingsuit.
Mm-hmm. Though I don't know who's going to actually display him like that. You might buy multiple and display one like that, but that's getting into stupid money.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that what the cape is supposed to be for? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. He looks fine. He looks good. He's a hot toy.
Yeah. Very, very tempting hot toy, honestly.
Yeah, and the bat cycle. I love how the bat cycle is just a bare bones fucking cafe racer-y kind of thing.
Yeah, the most Batman-y thing about it is just that it's mostly black and there's kind of bat ears to the fairing.
But yeah, that's all the toys and other news we had this week, so it's time to talk about some comics.
Ooh, some 4-color funnies?
Not very funny. Very serious. Very dramatic. Because I read issue 4 of Black Panther.
Ooh. I forgot you were reading that. How's that going?
It's good. They were on Mars talking to Sleeper. Last issue, Black Panther was talking to the Wakandan mutant, I can't remember his name, Gentle, going like, hey, we're stopping the Sleeper Cell program, so just...
crap. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I love that we're at a point where, because of the movie, that character is so popular that we now make a big deal out of, this issue has Shuri in it on the cover.
I mean, she's a good character. Shitty actor, good character. And basically... He's like, hey, we're stopping the program. I'm going around to all the agents, deactivating them because I put you in this dangerous situation. I feel it's my duty to help you and get you out of it and all that kind of stuff. And as they're leaving Araco, because they're not on Araco, they're on Mars. As they're leaving, him and Storm have a little kiss, and it's like, oh, hey, just come by, honey, because they're dating again.
Ah, good for them.
So they're dating again because they realize this is like, we miss each other too much kind of thing. Also, people just complain and was like, fuck, why'd you stop it? It's just like, yeah, no, it was kind of dumb. They're good together.
Yeah, Marvel unmarrying them was like YouTube getting rid of the dislike counter, to be honest.
But after they leave, Storm just looks at Gentle and goes like, I know you talked to him after we had the whole discussion. I know you're hiding something. I will find it. And not necessarily in the you're hiding something that means you're an asshole and you're fucking my boyfriend's doing something naughty. It's just like, buddy, one way or another, I know what's gonna happen. So
yeah.
As they're just trying to deal with the whole situation, and eventually the person that T'Challa's been teaming up with, deactivating all the people, which was one of the sleeper agents, as we're walking into Wakanda, Black Panther goes like, so you and the other agent were fucking each other? The fuck was that all about? And she goes like, you put us in this situation and made me, fuck you, you're an asshole. And so they start fighting. And then basically T'Challa's backup came in and goes like, hey, do you need backup? And that's the end of the issue.
Yeah.
But It's very much like legitimately. They explained what this whole arc is about. Is when Storm was talking to T'Challa, is like T'Challa said something, and Storm goes like, "That just sounds like a diplomatic way of saying I fucked up and I need to fix it." And T'Challa goes like, "You're not wrong, but no." So it's very much of like, yeah, it's fun. It's good times. Oh yeah, no, Shuri was the target of assassination through fucking with her lab. That's why they were heading back to Wakanda, because they were trying to help out Shuri.
Okay.
But she escaped before anything went down. He confronted the lady about the person he's been working with, and it's just like a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
We'll figure out more next issue. But hey, speaking of the next issue we're talking about, tell me, what if Miles Morales became Captain America?
Yeah, we're getting a new What If miniseries that is just a bunch of Miles Morales what ifs from Cody Ziegler. First issue being Captain America, good old classic what if premise. What if this character was Captain America? It's all right, you know. They do the standard Miles origin stuff. His parents have high expectations of him, but love him a lot. He accidentally gets powers and he thinks he's fucked up, but it's cool. Uncle Aaron seems like a nice guy, but he gets to be a bit of a fucking dickhead, but ends up being a nice boy in the end. And also there's an interesting interpretation of the Falcon, who I'm not sure if she's based off of anyone from Miles' actual universe, but like they're dating. So like I was like, I assume this is based on someone. Also, Sam Wilson is in the Nick Fury role, which was cool. And fucking Gank is the Tinkerer.
That's cool. Why aren't they using the cool What If logo Chip Zdarsky made?
Because this is more of a traditional What If thing.
That's my greatest disappointment in Marvel. They had a really cool concept that Zdarsky just laid out in front of them. Just, here you go. Evergreen books. You can just sell them whenever. And they're just like, nah.
No. They literally did the meme where the person froze the plate.
Yeah.
That being said, there is a cool moment at the end of this where they basically tease the next few issues, because Red Skull, or Gray Skull as he is in this universe, and yes, they make a Masters of the Universe joke. He's fucking with multiverse stuff. He's trying to conquer the entire multiverse, and there's a moment where Miles sees a bunch of different versions of himself, and they basically tease the next 3 issues. So we've got Wolverine Miles Morales, Thor Miles Morales, Hulk Miles Morales, and then actual 616 Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Nice.
Yeah.
But
overall, it was a fun little romp.
But next book. I read the first issue of Strange.
Ooh.
Yeah. Clara is fucking the Sorcerer Supreme.
How's that working out for her?
It's a little fucked, because that's not how the Sorcerer Supreme works.
Yeah. It's almost like there's another female character that should have gotten that role, and it would have made a lot more sense than dredging up a Silver Age character that we put to rest a long time ago for the sake of traumatic tension.
No, that's not the reason why. That's not how the Sorcerer Supreme works.
I'm just bitter, okay?
It has to be elected by the Vishanti, and Doctor Doom comes in and goes like, "Yo, bitch. I'm the most qualified to be the Sorcerer Supreme right now. Why the fuck are you walking around acting as if you are?" And she just looks at Doctor Doom and goes like, "Bitch, my husband might be nice enough to actually talk to you, but I'm from the dark dimension, and you're in my house. Fuck you." And Wong comes in and goes like, "Yo, the fuck? Was that Doctor Doom?" It's like, "Yeah. Okay, Wong, you're gonna help me fucking resurrect Strange." What? What do you mean? We can't just bring Doctor Strange back to life. Wong, have you looked at Strange's friends? They literally do that all of the time.
Gestures vaguely at Krakoa.
Literally, we could just wait and Strange will come back. But I don't want to wait. I want him now.
It's my hubby, and I want him now.
Like, legitimately, I am super loving the fact that they're just going like, nah, we're just gonna have a big magic power couple now.
Sick.
Eventually, once Doc comes back. And honestly, naming the book Strange makes total sense, because they'll be Mr. and Mrs. Strange. Because there's actually a moment in this where she goes like, yeah, no, in Dark Dimension we don't have last names, so I took my husband's name on.
Ah.
So it's just like, that's cute. There's a way of like talking about it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just kind of going around trying to start the shit. It's trying to get some information. Then you get into some kerfuffles. It's good. Is good.
Very nice.
Tell me about the world of Krypton.
So this issue is Shakespeare as fuck. Because it basically opens with Jor like trying to talk to Zod about how stressed out he is and where everything's gonna go from here. And Zod's like, oh, don't worry, the military will handle it. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, no, the military's got this. I am the military, and you're new, so you're just gonna do everything I say, motherfucker. And he's like, the fuck I am. And they have a big old Shakespearean fight about it, and they're arguing about like, no, my house did more for Krypton. No, my house did more for Krypton. No, I'm more of a rich, entitled, white person. Basically, it's that kind of like classic playwriting from before we acknowledged minorities existed. But it's ultimately stopped by Lara coming in and going, yo, get the fuck away from my husband. And he's like, all right, fine, you guys do things your way, but we'll see how that goes. And then Jor-El goes on TV and announces his plan, and there's a cool moment where like I want to say she's like 7 or 8 year old Kara comes in while Zor and fuck, I've forgotten what Kara's birth mother's name is, but her parents are watching the speech on TV, basically future sci-fi TV. And they're like, and she's like, why is my uncle on the TV? And they're like, it's an adult concern. Go back to your studies. And she's like, okay, but I'm not a baby, you know. I know something bad is going on. And it's good Supergirl writing. I like that. And then we see Zod doing some supremely fucked up shit because they find out like, because everybody knows basically that Krypton is dying and there's a lot of population control concerns. He's like, all right, we can't just afford to house and feed all these prisoners. We're just going to throw every fucking prisoner in the Phantom Zone, regardless of crime. And they're like, what the fuck? You can't do this. We have rights. We need to see our lawyers. And he's like, fuck your rights. And just keeps doing it. Then there's a really emotionally resonant scene where Zor-El is going back to the Phantom Zone project, trying to find another dimension they could maybe evacuate to that's not quite as horrible. And his wife is like, you don't have to do this. Jor-El is working on it. He'll find a solution, I'm sure. And he's like, he's not a father, though. He doesn't understand how desperate this is. My brother has the responsibility of every living being on the planet bearing down on him. And the unliving things, too. All of it is lighter than one little girl. Jor sees the goodness in others. He holds on to hope. I want to look at Kara and know she'll have a future. I'm restarting the Survival Zone project. If there's a Phantom Zone dimension, then there must be someplace safe for Kara, too. For all of us. I will save our daughter. And genuinely, I think that's like the best Zor-El scene I've ever fucking seen. Like, that hit. That was good shit. And then the ultimate stinger for the episode is immediately after that scene, we find out, oh shit, fuck, Laura's pregnant. Baby Kal-El is on the way.
Nice.
Yeah. Very, very solid series this is turning out to be.
Is there a noise going on in your background?
I have my AC unit on. I can turn it down.
No, it's just because, like, the best way to describe it is your audio sounds like it's being spoken through a fan.
How does it sound now?
Much cleaner.
Yeah, I turned the AC unit off.
Yeah. Okay. So if anybody was listening and wondering what that noise was...
It's starting to get hot here at night, and hotter during the day. I had to put this thing in today. Sorry.
Hey, you want to tell me about some killing time?
Sure, I would love to. This is a new maxi mini bitty body series from Tom King. It's yet another Batman book by Tom King, except this one is set during his early years. Basically, same kind of time frame as The Batman. This is actually meant to be the, hey, if you went and saw The Batman and you're walking into a comic store, here's a brand new book you can check out, kind of a thing. At least that's the way DC is marketing it. This is basically just pre-Robin, but Batman's got some experience, bit of reputation, and there's plenty of villains around. Because this entire first issue is just, on the orders of the Penguin, Killer Croc, Catwoman, and the Riddler all rob a bank in different ways, going after different targets, with one of them being the one true target, and Batman doesn't realize what that is until the end of the issue. Also, there's a lot of weird, kind of esoteric minor time jumping around, like, it'll be like, just a bit earlier and just a bit later, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, Tom, calm the fuck down and just tell this story in linear fashion. It doesn't need this extra flourish, but okay.
So, like, this is, like, right before Robin, but, like, post-Long Halloween kind of an idea of time.
Yeah, and also it's clear that the thing they actually stole probably is very important to Bruce Wayne, because, like, it's a specific vault. And when Gordon is telling Batman about it by the bat signal later, he's like, wait, they went for Vault 5? And he's like, yeah, I think the bank president said that they, like, got some kind of drive or something. I don't really think it's anything to worry about. And Gordon turns around and Batman's gone, and he's like, oh, fuck, this is something to worry about. Mm-hmm. Also, when they all go to get payment from Penguin, Riddler fucking obliterates Penguin with his cane, and Catwoman just sits there and watches.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what that's about, but I assume we'll learn as this book goes on. Because this is a solid first issue, and I haven't seen a new Bat story set in this era in a little bit, so I'm going to give it at least one more issue.
Nice. Well, I read issue 12 of Crossover.
Oh, fucking hell. Here we go.
They revealed who's been killing all the comic book creators.
Is it J. Michael Straczynski?
It's Negan.
Ah.
Yeah, that's kind of it. This looks like Negan, because we have a whole discussion between Negan and Robert Kirkman.
That's good.
Because Negan walks up and Robert goes like, oh, fuck. You're here to kill me. And Negan's like, yeah. And he just goes like, he just goes through this long list of like, Jesus Christ, dude, I didn't realize I was writing a person. I was writing a story. Also, writing Walking Dead took a lot of fuck out of me. I hated it, but I needed to pay the bills. Thankfully, I was able to use that to make more other stuff like Invincible.
Oh.
And see, I know you. I've written you. I know how you think. You know this isn't going to solve all the problems. And Negan just looks at him and goes like, yeah, but killing you can guarantee that won't happen again. Bonk.
Oof.
Yeah, that's like that's his mindset. It's like, I exist now. I make my decisions. I don't ever want the possibility of you making my decisions again. Which makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know why he wouldn't just go after Robert Kirkman.
Because I don't know. He was also working with the preacher person, and like he just wants to get out of here, so maybe kill. Like it's a little bit gobbledygooky because there's like one more issue or a couple more issues left, and Donny Cates is now a character, like not just like, oh, he's been a character. No, now he's loose. He's escaped from the prison cell. He's gotten a shave, and literally he has a line that says, I had to cut my hair. The Alan Moore thing was confusing people. No, and the way he escaped was great because he's talking to like one of the feds, and he's just going like, "Will you just fucking tell me the ending?" And he goes like, "All right." He exclaimed, grabbed a speech balloon, and stabbed the dude with the balloon.
I just looked up a picture of him again. I keep forgetting that Donny Cates low-key looks like Bobby Fish.
Yeah. And he basically teams up with the rest of the crew that's been in the comic while they go save the people from Powers. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Crossover's good. It is wild.
Nice.
All right. Judging by the cover, tell me about the Lesbians of Steel.
Oh, that took a second. Yeah, this issue does introduce Poison Ivy, and she's basically fucking Moss Man from Masters of the Universe. She controls the whole forest, and they're like, hey, a war might be coming. Would you be willing to, like, be the first line of defense for the Super Kingdom? And she's like, yeah, but Harley has to marry me. And Harley's like, really, this again? And she goes, this always. She's like, well, that's really nice, and I'm always happy to visit, but, like, fucking, I'm not living in a tree. And then Wonder Woman shows up, and Poison Ivy grabs her and her Pegasus with vines, and there's a big old fight. And eventually, Cal and Zala show up, because Zala's back in the kingdom now. Oh, and they're like, yo, fucking knock it off. And Zala and Diana go and have a talk, and she's like, yo, did you fucking kill that king's son? And she's like, what? No! Why would they spread that story? Well, because my mother might be taking my people to war alongside that king, and, like, he probably needed leverage. She's like, oh, that sucks. War's probably unavoidable at this point. I hope we're on the same side. Ominous fucking establishing panel. Then Bruce gets back into town, and he goes and has a talk with Cal, and he's like, so, there's no easy way to say this, but we're half-brothers, and this rock can kill the both of us. And Clark's like, oh, really? No one's gonna usurp my rule. And he fucking stabs Bruce with kryptonite, flies him up into the atmosphere, and then throws him back down to the ground.
Oh, this is Evil Superman story.
I mean, it's Tom Taylor. He wrote the Injustice comic. But Bruce is not dead. He's found by the fucking Kents. And they take him in, and that's the end of the issue cliffhanger. So, kind of all over the place, and I mean, like, I'm not the biggest fan of that twist, but, like, it seems like it's going in an interesting direction, and there's plenty of issues left for them to salvage it.
Yeah. Hey, we both read She-Hulk.
We sure did. I want to like this issue for explaining who the fuck Jack of Hearts is to me, but I'm also like, I just got invested in She-Hulk. Why are we spending almost the entire issue explaining who Jack of Hearts is?
'Cause it's gonna be a romance.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause they're gonna go fuck together.
Yeah, and he's apparently going to be a house husband.
I mean, you gotta explain who the other partner is in the rom-com.
Yeah. Also, apparently, She-Hulk has a stalker. Is there anyone who that could be, or do you think this is a new villain?
I think it's just someone to you.
Okay.
And if it is someone established, it's probably not going to be someone super established.
Mm-hmm. I do like all the little bits where it's like, oh, I don't drink. Oh shit, that was good. I don't eat. Oh shit, that was good.
Yeah, it's very much like it is a person who has only been a being of energy, learning, oh shit, food and water tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
I need them now.
Yeah. And a little bit where she goes back to work is really cute too, because the boss is like, "Oh god damn it, you're green already," and she's like, "What? I got a better suit, and I brought coffee. How can you be mad at me?"
But also the covers on She-Hulk has just been immaculate.
Yeah. Who is this cover artist?
It's just beautiful green lady.
Mm-hmm. This is good comics. This is solid comics. Good job, Marvel. Now don't fuck up the Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
Especially because I've heard that it's also probably going to be the last time Ruffalo plays Hulk for a long time.
Yeah. It's understandable.
Yeah.
So I read issue 4 of Captain America Iron Man.
How was that?
It's really good. They basically went like they explained why everything's kind of been going the way it is. Essentially, a bunch of different parties were trying to control the whole situation on all sides.
Mm.
So, like, a senator wanted to reform S.H.I.E.L.D. The lady villain wanted to be the Hydra. And the heroes they were working with are the heroes we've been seeing in the book. But 51 started second guessing it and went against it and tried to get some bigger heroes to help take all of this down, aka Captain America and Iron Man. So 51, the weird alien looking dude, has been a good guy. He's just been trying to get the heroes' attention this whole time to get them to bust this whole operation down. So they do. So Cap and Iron Man take care of the whole situation. But then when they realize that, they go like, oh shit, we gave 51 to the other heroes. That the other people that we thought were heroes who would help him. He's in danger. We gotta go save him. As we end the issue with 51 sitting at a table with a gun on the table and the other heroes playing rock, paper, scissors, presumably to figure out who's gonna kill him.
Oof.
This is turning into a really good kind of like World's Finest, but with like Marvel's Cap and Iron Man.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
I also read issue 9 of Moon Knight.
What be Mark doing?
What Mark be doing is trying to rebound from his building being exploded.
Ah.
But he gets called in to go deal with the fact that everyone that anybody who goes to this certain floor of this certain apartment building disappears. They just don't come out.
Looks like it's is that an MC Usher painting that's mimicking?
Oh, that's what the cover's mimicking. So Mark goes in, Moon Knight goes in, and he goes like, oh, I know what this is. This is a House of Shadows. This is a thing Doctor Strange fought. This is an actual thing Doctor Strange fought in the comics in the 60s. This is a thing from the Steve Ditko era.
Oh my god.
And just being brought back to the modern day. Holy shit.
Good pull. Good pull there, writer boy.
Yeah. McKay.
Yeah.
So basically, it is an interdimensional house thing that creates like a pocket dimension that normally just lures people into itself and just puts it into like a dimensional labyrinth and just sucks the energy out of them. And it's just living as a floor of the apartment right now. And like it takes the psychic energy. And so Mark goes like, oh, right, I'm fucking crazy. It's gonna spit me out like I'm fucking poison. And so it does. And so Mark gets spit out. He goes like, all right, cool. Okay, we got to reformulate what the plan is. We got to figure out what's going on here. And he talks to everybody and figures it out. And he goes like, I know how to solve this. I know how to solve this. So he goes back in and talks to the house and goes like, hey, look, I know that you're alone and you're sad and you're ultimately a weird evil house, but you're still a house and you want people to live inside of you. So here is my proposition. You want to become my office building? Ah! So Moon Knight now has a magic office building.
Damn. Talk about pissing on Steven's grave.
Legitimately, that's kind of how it is now. Stephen Strange is like cosmic magic. Moon Knight is now street level magic.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think about it. Like, Moon Knight is dealing with the street level shit.
Makes sense.
And all of his DID stuff, and also like regular criminals. So yeah, Moon Knight, good. Read Moon Knight. Moon Knight's just good.
I will eventually. Eventually I'll read a good Moon Knight book.
Hey, guess what we both read?
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man does whatever a spider pan.
This issue was alright.
Yeah. It's definitely kind of like, we're getting close to the climax, but we can't actually do the climax yet.
Mm-hmm. The way they included Misty and Colleen was a bit lol random for my taste.
Yeah, but you want all the heroes in one place.
Mm-hmm. I do like Ben straight up being like, no, fuck you, I'm gonna do everything possible to ruin you to Maxine. No. That was great.
But I also like how Ben's trying to like hide, like, yeah, no, I'm perfectly fine, while I can't remember the fact that I have web shooters.
Yeah. And all the monster mashes are fun enough. I like that they just straight up have one that's just fucking Jeff the Landshark.
Yeah. But it's beyond is shaping up to be a solid little storyline.
Yeah. I don't know if it will be remembered particularly well, but it served its purpose fairly well.
Yeah. And people are getting hyped for the new Spider-Man that's going to be happening soon. So
yeah, who's taking over again?
It's one of the current writers of Spider-Man. I can't.
Ed McKay is taking over.
Yeah.
And we like him. He's a good fellow.
Yeah. He's written the most solid Spider-Man books in this new team.
Yeah.
So
fucking Mary Jane Blackcat. Good shit.
Yeah. Next book?
Next book.
Hey, tell me about Rogue Sun.
I thought you were gonna read this. Okay.
I wanted to, but I didn't get a chance to.
Alright, Rogue Sun is Ryan Parrott pulling the same shit that fucking Kyle Higgins did. Oh, I'm not writing Power Rangers anymore? Let me just write my own superhero thing that steals concepts directly from Power Rangers.
Honestly, just from the cover, this looks more Kamen Rider than...
Yeah, it's kind of Kamen Rider, it's kind of Garo. It's basically... we open up, we see this superhero in New Orleans, which is a kind of cool and unique superhero location, getting his ass kicked and basically fucking dying. And it says, when the night falls, a sun will rise. And then we cut to a high school where we meet our main character, who's kind of a douchey semi-bully. Like, he kind of acts the same way to this one kid that reportedly Cody did to you in high school.
Mm.
Yeah. And then he goes home, and his mom's like, hey, your dad died, and his will reading is tomorrow. We have to go. And he's like, fuck my dad. He's a deadbeat. He never cared about us. And she's like, yeah, but we might get something out of this, and also I need closure. So you're gonna put on a suit and you're gonna go to his big fancy house with me. And they go and they meet the second family, and they seem like fucking rich people. The wife is nice but clearly a trophy wife. The daughter is a bit of a know-it-all preppy girl, and the son is just a brat. He's just fucking Damien. He's early Damien. But they read the will, and the will is basically two things. My wife gets my money, my business holdings, and all that. She has to take care of that shit from now on. Good fucking luck. And my first son is gonna get my fucking superpowers. Here's my morpher. And the second son, the youngest, is like, what the fuck? This is bullshit. I thought I was being groomed for that. And the first son is like, I don't understand. Why is this a big deal? And everybody has to explain. Your dad was a superhero. He was Rogue Sun. He's like, what the fuck? My dad was Rogue Sun and no one told me? That's complete bullshit. And the mom tells the real story of how they've met because she'd been lying to him all this time. And she's like, yeah, when I was right out of medical school, he pulled me out of a car crash. And literally the first thing he did was ask for my number. And 8 months later, we were married and you were on the way. It's like, oh. But the morpher apparently calls to its user as soon as there is trouble that he's needed for. So he doesn't even really have time to process all this, and he has to become Rogue Sun for the first time in a big old splash page where we go, oh yeah, that's right, this is in the same universe as Radiant Black. But he transforms and he goes and fights this villain called Suave, who probably fought his dad a few times before, because A, he has a fucking great design. He's like a big old chromey Cobra Commander head in this awesome suit with a rapier.
So you would say he's suave.
Yeah, exactly. But he's like, oh, there you are. I was beginning to think you were dead like everyone was saying. And he's like, all right, fancy dude, I'm going to kick your butt. And he's like, oh, please. And he takes him down like 2 steps and he's like, oh, you're not really him, are you? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, all right, then, what's my real name? And he's like, shit, you caught me. And so Suave kicks his ass and he lands on the dumpster and Suave drives away. And then his fucking dad goes, get up, Dylan. Get up right now. You're embarrassing me. And his dad is right there next to him. So I'm guessing this morpher functions like the matrix of leadership, where the consciousness of all previous users are stored within it or something like that.
Yeah.
Solid start. I may check out the second issue. I don't know if it grabbed me on that.
I'm just looking at the design and I'm going like, yo, you could easily turn that flame into a scarf. Why isn't the flame a scarf? Make the flame a scarf.
Yeah.
Alright. Hey, do you want to tell me about Capitalism, the superhero book?
Yes. This issue was fucking interesting because Red Tornado goes to fire everybody and he just can't do it. As he's trying to get up the courage to do it in a meeting, Power Girl realizes what's going on, and she calls all the investors, and she's like, "What the fuck? I thought I was your women on the inside. Why am I getting fired? And what is going on?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we just gotta make cuts. It's nothing personal. But at least you didn't have to hear it from us. It came from Red." And she's like, "What? Wait, you mean he didn't fire you yet?" "No." "Oh, god damn it. Well, no big deal. We found a buyer anyway." And then Red goes back. Red does little things to help everyone instead of firing them. And he decides to go back to the investors that night and confront them. And he does it, and they're like, "Oh, no big deal. You did directly disobey us, but We sold the company. It's not a problem anymore. It's you deal with that shit. Anyway, see ya. And he's like, oh, okay. I guess that's all right. Meanwhile, fucking Gangbuster gets PTSD from trick-or-treaters and like starts going crazy and runs off into the night and ends up at the Heroes for You office and fucking sets it on fire, and that's the end of the issue cliffhanger.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I have no idea where this book is going at this point, but it's nothing if not interesting.
All right. Anything else?
Not really.
X-Men.
X-Men, X-Men, X the day, X the day.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to fucking describe this book, because it's basically just like all the different factions like convening amongst themselves to go like, all right, what's the plan here? What are we doing? So you had all the like X team and you had all of Orcus like kind of figure out like, what are we doing? How are we going about this? Meanwhile,
I love the way Nimrod looks on that cover.
Oh, Nimrod looks amazing.
Yeah.
He has much more of a serious character than he was in Hawks and Pox.
Aw, I liked Kenny Omega Nimrod.
But meanwhile, Gambit and Rogue are going on an adventure, and they run into Destiny.
Oh.
So they have the mother-in-law talk. Where she just basically goes like, I don't think you're fit for my daughter. And Gambit just goes like,
and yeah.
Bitch, we love each other. Fuck you. Like, legitimately, as Gambit and Rogue are leaving, Destiny is just standing there just like this for one panel. Just solid, straight looking ahead, one panel. And just goes like, die, while strangling the air.
I think I actually saw it around, but I didn't know the context for it. That's great.
Yeah, it was for Gambit. Also, complete confirmation. Even more double confirmation. They are married. Rogue is their adopted daughter. And they still put Kurt Nightcrawler out to fucking dry. Why?
No.
Like, they didn't mention Kurt, but I'm just going like, come on. Destiny, is Kurt not your son? In any fashion form?
We at least have Rogue acknowledge that Kurt is her brother.
Please, just once. Just in a modern context, with the contemporary understanding that Destiny and Mystique are fucking married.
Yeah.
Can that just be? You know what? I think they're afraid of having Kurt interact with that at all, because he is a very devout Catholic, and they're going like, would Kurt be homophobic? I don't want to explore if Kurt would be homophobic, so I'm just not going to touch it.
You know, there's a very easy way to get past that, which is you just say like, no, why would I be? I come from a homosexual marriage.
Honestly, I would not mind if they retconned it to what Chris Claremont originally wanted his birthing to be, which was Mystique transmogrified herself into a man and impregnated Destiny.
Yeah, fucking go one step beyond. Make Mystique and Destiny an allegory for a trans and cis couple.
They're just fucking queer.
Yeah,
they
are literally queer as folk.
Queer ass folk. Yeah. Jesus. But yeah, no, good. It would like genuinely. If you just love Gambit and Rogue, just read it for the interaction with Destiny. It was worth it for that.
I have to do that, actually. I might have to do that.
Like, you can probably skim the other bits, but just that one bit, read it. It's good.
But, like, to be honest, to kind of interrupt the podcast for a moment, I have been low-key considering, since Hickman's kind of been, not, like, thrown into trash, but, like, set aside for the moment, I have been considering just jumping ahead into current.
Maybe. You can like, there hasn't been a super amount of, like, oh boy, you missed this. Like, Inferno, maybe?
I know all the plot beats, though, is the thing.
Yeah, I've been telling.
I do want to read that for myself, but I don't know if I need to just start reading current like I want to.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's good. X-Men's good.
Yeah.
I also read Devil's Reign X-Men, which is, if you don't remember, it's a flashback series to when Emma Frost was working with Kingpin.
Mm.
So Kingpin went like, hey, do all this kind of stuff, and Emma was trying to get this one little girl out of harm's way, a variety of things. But it very much looks like a kidnapping, and she got caught on camera, and that's the kind of framing device for this issue, of like someone in modern days going like, hey, you fucking kidnapped this character, you're being indicted and all that kind of stuff. And
it only just now hit me that Dazzler is on the cover, because for a minute there she just looked like she was a part of Emma's hair.
Yeah. But when they were trying to rescue the girl, a fun little thing happened. It was Emma and Elektra doing all the stuff, and the little girl goes, they just went like, oh, there's people coming up with guns. Did you bring anything? Bring any cop? Like, the girl asked, hey, are you gonna call the cops? And Emma was just like, no, the people who are coming with us have the badges. I have, but I do have some guns. I do have someone we can call. And she mentally projects a loud scream for Spider-Man to come in and see that there was a bunch of bad guys, so he start beating them up. And because Emma just needed to figure out, like, all right, I need to figure out how to basically push Spider-Man in the right direction, and like, so I can erase his memory so he doesn't remember he helped basically kidnap a little girl. She looked into his memory and goes like, okay, I need to figure out why you're doing this. And she just sees this beautiful panel of like, with great power must also come great responsibility, Uncle Ben, his guilt, the whole origin of Spider-Man. And Emma Frost's face melts and just goes like, oh, you poor boy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
Endless just actually posted that in his server, and I was like, that's fucking Kino.
Yeah. That's the thing people forget about Emma Frost. She is the utmost ice queen, but if you melt her heart, she will die for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so she basically goes like, all right, Spider-Man, you're not going to remember this night, but help us save this little girl. And like, so we do that. We don't exactly find out what Emma did with the girl, but we do see that she's landing in England, which, by the way, mutants aren't allowed in England right now.
Ooh.
She hid away at Gateway in the old Hellfire Club.
Mm.
And she's walking down the street, and then fucking one of the, I can't remember his name. Union Jack. Fucking just decks her in the eye, and she goes like, you're gonna have to talk to my lawyers and plastic surgeon about this. And he goes like, whatever, you're under arrest. And that's the end of the issue.
Mm.
Also, the reason why Invisible Woman and Nick Fury are there is because Emma Frost would make a mental projection that she looks like a different person.
Okay.
And she did that impersonating Invisible Woman to get some stuff, as well as impersonating someone to get to Nick Fury and get some information from him.
Okay.
This is what she was doing. That's why it's all like that.
Yeah.
But it's a very Emma focused book.
Nice.
Hey.
Tell
me about Saga.
This issue was okay. Kind of skips ahead a little bit to them already in the pirate ship, and the pirates are like, we know you're hauling drugs, don't fuck around with us. And they're like, okay, well, can you please not kill us, because we have kids on board. And the captain of the pirates is like, say so, I'm going to be nice and friendly now. Check out all this fucking cool shit that's on my ship. We have an entire record store on our ship. We have fucking ice cream everywhere. Isn't it awesome? Meanwhile, in the Robot Kingdom, King Robot is feeling very sad about the fact that his son's dead, because they just found Prince Robot's remains. And he's like, yeah, we're going to send someone out there to find the fuckers who did this and kill him. And this one lieutenant is like, yeah, isn't that how Prince Robot got killed in the first place? Maybe we don't do that. And she's like putting her hands all over him, and he's like, perhaps you're right. Kind of a thing. So that's clearly a thing that's going somewhere, but I'm not sure where. Then Alana is talking with the captain privately, and he seems like a cool dude. And she basically says, like, look, the only reason I'm hauling drugs is because I need to make the money in order to pay for my official merchant's license. And he's like, oh, I got one of those. Check this out. I can give you this, actually. I can just transfer this to you if you do something for me. And she's like, what? Take your cargo and sell it to this place. That place is fucking dangerous. That's like a war zone right now. I'm not taking my kids there. I'll watch your kids for you. You can even leave your assistant here to make sure I'm not fucking with you. She's like, all right, I guess I can do that. I guess it'll be worth it. And he's like, all right, cool. Now take your shirt off. She's like, what?
Oh, no.
It's not sexual. I just want to make sure you're not one of those fucks with wings. And she's like, wait, I thought you were neutral. And he's like, I said I'm not involved in the war. I never said I didn't hate the fuckers that started it. Now take off your shirt. Ooh. And they start fighting, and we find out that this guy is not just an asshole, but he's like a literal allegory for actual fuckboys, because he starts beating her up, and he basically says, you better take your shirt off right, like he gets her on the ground and he goes, you better take your shirt off right now, or I'm going to have my crew bring your kids up here and I'll rape them in front of you. And then the final panel is him going, oops, probably should have thrown in a trigger warning, huh? And I'm like, Brian, tone it down a little. That's a bit much. But yeah, this guy's a motherfucker. I want to see him die next issue.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the issues we read.
Sure is. Heck of an ending.
Hey, that's what happens when you randomly select what fucking issues go where.
Yeah.
But that's all we have to say this week. Until next week, do you have anything you want to say to the audience, including your fucking find me information?
I like comics, but also I like tokusatsu and toys. You can see me talking about those things at youtube.com/thevacuuminator. I'm also on Twitter tweeting and tweeting about every little thing at thevacuuminator, and I'm on Instagram posting photos of my dogs and my toys at _vacuuminator.
Yes. Hello there. Hi. I am Chris, a Boingo Writer Gaston. You want to see me stream on Twitch? It's twitch.tv/Boingo Writer. Would you like to see some tweets or TikToks and or Instagram posts? Hey, at
yes.
Boingo_Writer. You want to see some YouTube videos? Go into the search bar. Boingo Writer. I talk a lot about everything. Video essays and editorials.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to say?
Ratman.
Enough said.